Imagine this: you spend weeks preparing for your visa application, you pay the fees, you attend your appointment, and finally, you get the visa approved. You arrive at the airport excited about your trip, but at the immigration, the officer looks at your passport and tells you you cannot enter the country. Right now, I know what's going through your mind right now. You may be thinking, why? When you have a valid visa. Yes, even with a valid visa, you can still be refused entry. And in this video today, I'm going to tell you guys why and how to avoid it. Welcome back to Explore Abroad, your channel for visa tips, travel information, immigration advice, and everything you need to know before traveling internationally. So if you're planning to travel abroad soon, especially to Europe, the UK, the USA, Canada, or any other countries that requires a visa, please watch this video until the end, because there's something many travelers don't understand. Getting a visa doesn't automatically guarantee you entry into the country. Your visa allows you to travel to the border to request for entry, but the final decision can still be made by the immigration or the border officer when you arrive. So let's talk about the biggest reasons why someone with a valid visa could still have problems at the border. Reason number one: when you cannot clearly explain why you are traveling. Let's say you applied for a tourist visa, and you told the embassy you are going to Europe for tourism purpose, and you arrive, and when you arrive, the immigration officer asks you, why are you visiting? And your answer is, I am not sure, or your answer is, my friend asked me to come, or you give an explanation completely different from what you submitted when you are applying for your visa. When you are doing your visa application. This can raise questions. Your answer at the border should be truthful and consistent with your travel purpose, with the purpose of your trip. If you're traveling for tourism, you should be able to explain your basic itinerary: where you are staying, how long are you going to be staying, which cities are you going to be visiting, and when are you going to be returning back to your home country. You should be able to explain these things to the immigration officer at the border. If not, it's going to raise a red flag, and this might make them to stop you from entry. Reason number two: you arrive at the airport or at the border without the document that supports your trip. A visa doesn't mean you should travel only with your international passport. Depending on the destination and your circumstances, you may be asked to prove or to show things as to show this following document: your return or onward ticket, hotel accommodation details, travel insurance where necessary, proof of sufficient funds, invitation or sponsorship document if applicable, and details about your trip. You may be asked to show all these things. And I'm not saying immigration officers will always ask for every single document that you use to apply for your visa, but if they ask you to prove something about your trip and you're unable to prove it, and you cannot prove it, or you cannot show evidence for it, that's when things can get difficult. So before you travel, keep all your important documents easily accessible, preferably digitally or physically. This will help you a lot. And this brings us to reason number three: when your answer don't match your visa application. And this one is very, very important. Your story must make sense. Imagine you applied for a tourist visa and you stated that you are traveling for 7 days, you have a hotel booking for 7 days, and you have a return ticket. Everything makes sense. But when you arrive, you tell the visa officer that actually I'm planning to stay for 3 months, or you are planning to stay for 4 months. This is completely different. Or you say to the visa officer, actually I'm just visiting a friend, when your visa application states clearly that you are traveling for tourism purpose. The visa officer might start asking more questions. So remember, don't create a completely new story when you get to the border or when you get to the airport. Be truthful and make sure you understand what you submitted during your visa application. And reason number four: when you don't have enough money for your trip. You may be asked, how are you staying for 3 weeks? If your travel itinerary shows that you are going to be staying for 3 weeks, you may be asked, how are you staying for 3 weeks? You are staying in a hotel, you are traveling between several cities, you are eating out, and you are taking transportation. So the immigration officer may ask you this question: how are you financing your trip? And when you cannot demonstrate when you cannot demonstrate that you have sufficient funds for your trip, or you cannot explain who exactly is sponsoring your trip or who is paying for your trip, this will raise concern. So don't, and you should also know that financial requirements vary from country to country. So don't depend only on a random amount you saw online. Make sure you understand the financial proof of a particular country you are applying for, and make sure your finances reasonably make sure your financial proof supports the trip you are claiming to take. If you're going to be staying for 3 weeks, traveling for 3 weeks as a tourist, make sure you have enough funds to support that claim. And reason number 5, when you don't have a clear plan to leave, when the officer is not convinced that you are going to be leaving the country before your visa expires. This is one of the biggest concerns when dealing with temporary visitors. Remember, a tourist visa is generally for a temporary visit. So an immigration officer may want to understand, where do you live? What do you do? When are you returning back to your home country? Do you have a job or business? Do you have a return or onward ticket where appropriate? Again, this doesn't mean that everyone must have the same document, but you should be able to honestly demonstrate that your trip is temporary, and explain to the officer that you have enough reasons to return to your home country. Try to show a strong ties to your home country. Explain to the officer if you have a business, if you have proof. Try to prove and try to convince the officer that you have a strong reason to return back to your home country. And this brings us to reason number 6. When you have changed circumstances, when something very important has changed since your visa was issued. Maybe your visa was approved 6 months ago, but now your circumstances are completely different. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe the person sponsoring you is no longer sponsoring you anymore. Maybe your purpose of travel has changed. Maybe your documents are no longer valid. A visa doesn't freeze your circumstances in time. So if something significantly has changed, you need to understand how that could affect your ability to travel and enter the country. Reason number 7, you violated immigration rules before. This means your previous immigration history. If you've previously overstayed a visa in any country before, or in that country before, or violated immigration conditions, or you worked illegally, or you've been deported from a country before, or you had a serious immigration issues before, border authorities may look at your travel history. They may look at this history. And remember, immigration officers can have access to information that travelers may not even realize that they have. So you should be careful about this. Make sure if you travel to a particular country, don't overstay your visa. Make sure you leave the country before your visa gets expired. And reason number 8, when your visa or passport has a problem, reason number 8, when your visa or passport has a problem, this can actually stop you from entering the country even though you have a valid visa. And reason number 9, when you submit or you give a false or misleading information. If they find out that some of the informations that you gave or you submitted during your visa application or at the border is fake, or it's false, or you give a misleading information, this can actually stop you from entering the country also. Now let me tell you guys what you should actually do at the airport when you arrive. Here are my 5 simple rules. 1, stay calm. 2, answer questions honestly. 3, keep supporting documents, all your supporting documents accessible. 4, know your travel itinerary, And 5, never argue aggressively with the immigration officer. Remember, being nervous doesn't automatically mean you've done something wrong. Immigration officers speak to thousands of travelers every day. So just answer your questions clearly, briefly, and truthfully. So let's go back to the question again. Can you be denied entry even if your visa is approved and valid? The answer is yes. A visa is generally a permission to travel to a country's border and request for entry. It is not necessarily an absolute guarantee that you will be admitted or allowed entry into the country. The border authorities can still assess whether you meet the conditions for entry at the airport when you arrive there, and that's why you shouldn't think my visa is approved and valid. I don't need to prepare anymore. You still need to travel with the right document, understand your trip, follow the conditions of your visa, and answer questions honestly when you get to the border. If you found this video useful, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who is planning to travel abroad. And if you're planning your first international trip, subscribe to Explore Abroad, because I make videos to help you understand visas, immigration, airport and international travel before you make an expensive mistakes. And here's my question for you. Have you ever been questioned heavily by immigration officers at the airports? Tell me your experience in the comment section below. And remember, I still offer one-on-one paid consultation. You can reach out to me via my WhatsApp. The WhatsApp link is in my bio. Remember also, getting a visa is only part of the journey. I'll see you guys in the next video. Travel smart, travel prepared, and explore abroad.